There are some startling aspects to this week's Torah portion, which is called Vayaytze. Vayaytze occurs satum, that is to say, inside of the Torah itself it is closed off. When you look at the Torah and the way that it is written in the original text, there are openings and the closings, there are places that look like paragraphs. But for this week's Sidra, there is no opening and no closing. It is simply connected with everything that came before and that which comes afterward, teaching a very powerful yet subtle lesson, that Jacob's sojourn outside of the land of Israel, Jacob's traveling to look for safety with his family, located far away from his home and his parents, is an exile. He's living a kind of substandard life. And as if to drive home this point, the Torah portion's name is Vayaytze, and Jacob left. Unlike many of the other words that are used throughout the Torah portions in Genesis, Vayelech means basically the same thing in English. However, it has the connotation of traveling, knowing where you're going. You've got a fixed destination, and you're going there for a purpose. But Vayaytze is simply exile. You're running for your life, and precisely that is what Jacob is doing. He is running for his life, with no direction, simply trying to save his hide because he is terrified that Esau is going to murder him. Shortly afterward, after we introduce the Sidra with that single word, we find that Jacob alights upon a place, and it says Vayifka Makom, which means he just happened on the place, but it is pointed out to us by one of the great Hasidic masters, Rabbi Aaron of Karlin, that Vayifka means to pray, that Jacob stopped in this place in order to talk to God, to daven. And it is only because he stopped in this place to daven, to speak with God, that he was able to hear and witness the incredible testimony that we have recorded immediately afterward. Jacob, you remember, saw a great ladder with angels climbing up and climbing down. But Jacob was only privileged to witness that because he was already in a state of mind that would enable him to be able to see it. It otherwise would have been closed to him. He would have been in that place, and he never would have known, which is what he exclaims, of course, at the end of the passage. And what is the moral of the story for us? To always be in a higher state of consciousness, to look for God in places wherever we find ourselves to be, because gold may inhere in that place. And maybe every place could be Vayifka Makom, that we may encounter God, we may encounter ladder, we may encounter amazing things that otherwise we would never know about if we're simply looking around us for the best way to slice into the traffic that is speeding around us or get the best bargain at the local store. So there are two aspects to this week's Torah reading which I think we can take personally. One is to run without knowing where we're going really leaves us no ability to be able to choose our own path. When we're frightened and we're just casting around for some sort of answer from the universe, none will be forthcoming. Everything remains closed, like the Torah reading, closed. And yet, when we recover ourselves, when we have enough mental awareness to understand that there's something more to our lives than what we have and where we're at, we may discover vast troves, treasures beyond compare, things that we'd otherwise never know about. Shabbat Shalom.